Systemise your success. I'm Dr. Steve Day, and today I want to talk about holidays. Are you, as a business owner, able to take genuine time off? Do you disconnect entirely from your business so you can focus on your family, so you reconnect with them? Or are you actually worried half the time about what your staff are up to, or what your clients are thinking, or just that it's going to be total chaos when you go back, and therefore you end up checking in on your inboxes and doing those little niggly things that don't allow you to really just disconnect and enjoy the time you've got? That is the subject of today's episode. I want to talk through the 6 techniques and systems that I've put in over the years to allow me to do this to the best I think I can. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am currently on holiday with my family in Manchester, and I'm recording this live on my mobile in my mum's office. I'm only doing this because I want to, because it came to me and I thought this is a great thing to share, because I was enjoying actually being with my family and doing some stuff. And today was one of my work days, which I'll talk about in a minute. And my podcast manager said it'd be great if you could record some podcasts. So this is what I'm doing. Okay, so remember to stick around to the end to hear all 6 of these techniques and systems. The last one is the one that's probably going to make the biggest difference to you. And do remember to hit subscribe to be kept up to date with cool tips, tricks, and systems to give you more freedom and time to spend with your family and loved ones.
So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us, who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools, and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits, and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day, and this is Systemise Your Success.
Okay, so let's jump in with my 6 top tips and systems for being able to take genuine time off with your family so you can actually enjoy your life and not let your business suffer as a result. First off, it's all about having a consistent system for your marketing activities so they don't just drop off a cliff whenever you go on holiday. This means that if you are doing something like me, a podcast, that you have put into place some simple steps for somebody else to manage the publishing and then the promotion of that in your absence. Otherwise, your podcast is either going to drop off a cliff when you go away, or you're going to have to plan really well ahead and have everything scheduled out. That's good in some ways, but there are certain parts of promoting over social media, for example, where they're actually doing it live and physically posting on the right day. That is going to make a bigger impact on your audience and your reach. So it's better to do it that way with somebody doing it for you. However, if you don't have anybody, of course, you can plan ahead and use schedulers to do most of that hard work, and at least make sure your routine or your schedule doesn't get shifted when you're on holiday, because most of the marketing channels like the consistency that comes with doing something regularly, whether it's weekly or daily or whatever your usual cadence is. So make sure you're planning ahead and you've got a systemized approach to your marketing, ideally with somebody else to actually manage that for you, so that when you go away, that can still happen. Just with, for example, me recording a few extra podcasts over the preceding weeks, it means that we've got a bank that they can then dip into and use when I'm away. Or like now, I'm just recording an ad hoc podcast while I'm sat on holiday in my mum's office in Manchester. All right, so the second thing is comms management. This is one of those key areas, I think, that is so essential to everyday life as a business owner. But when you go on holiday, it even makes even bigger difference. So having somebody else between you and your inboxes, so whether that's your email, your text messages, your WhatsApp, your social media, all of the channels that basically allow people to contact you and bring you their problems or their issues or whatever it is. Like if you have somebody in between you and them, it means that that person can deal with stuff in your absence. Yes, there may be some stuff that needs to be passed over to you, but that could also be put over to a time when you're back and not just a blanket out the office. Some things may need to be escalated. It may be so urgent that actually they really need to get in contact with you, and it'd be inappropriate or irresponsible for you not to actually get back to them. If that's the case in your business, then you're basically beholden to actually check your inboxes just in case that kind of message comes in. So if you've got somebody between you and your inbox, they can do that for you. They can filter things through. And if you've got some strict policies for your communications policies, and check our previous episode about communication policies if you want to hear or get a download of that. But having something like that in place means that they can escalate things that you really need to see and deal with the rest. Along with that comes things like this next tip: having a an FAQ, a frequently asked questions, for all of your clients, your customers, your potential clients, so that if and when, questions come in, that your staff, your comms manager, can actually deal with the majority of those questions and even action things or take the next steps, because you've actually started documenting these things in your FAQs or your frequently asked questions. That is absolutely essential, especially if you're also doing sales. So the continuation of that comms management is your sales management. So if you have somebody, and it doesn't need to be a salesperson per se. I don't have a sales team. I just have myself. I do most of the sales calls, but I have somebody that helps me schedule my sales calls. That is the same person that deals with all of my inbox management. So for example, I've got a call booked in tomorrow where I'm going to jump on a call with someone I've never met before. They came through LinkedIn, and my comms manager has been discussing things with them. We built out a decision tree to how to nurture people through in a respectful and meaningful way, so they actually feel that they're valued and be listened to. And then that person's now booked in a call with me. So I'm going to jump on a quick call tomorrow with a potential new client, and that's all happened in the background while I've been on holiday. I also had a sales call earlier this week, and we actually onboarded a new client because the sale went through. And then because I've got systems for onboarding new clients, I didn't have to then jump in and spend hours on my computer like setting things up for them. We just hand this over. Most of it's automated now, to be honest, but pretty much hand this over to my ops assistant, and she can then just make sure that they've been onboarded properly and make sure everything's set up for them. There's a great book on sales called Open with a Close by Matt Elwell, and that's where I actually got all the ideas for building my sales nurturing funnel from, and I turned that into a system to allow my staff to actually take people through, as I say, a really respectful and value-driven sales process. So actually just nurturing them through and hearing their problems and actually getting them to the point where they're ready to go jump on a call. And that can happen entirely without you, without having to employ, a sales team or anything. I don't have an abundance of people coming in, or like a whole sales team or anything. This is just my comms assistant who's based in the Philippines, who I've just built a simple decision tree to allow them to take people through a journey, which is the one that I would take them through if I was doing it myself. But by documenting it, it's allowing somebody else to do that for me. And that, again, is an absolutely brilliant thing to get set up before you go on holiday. So you're not having to jump on, and all the time and keep an eye on things. Like, yes, I've got a sales call booked tomorrow, but that's a genuine, qualified lead that I want to actually speak to. And I'm working tomorrow anyway. It's part of my schedule to do an afternoon's work tomorrow. So we just slotted them in when I was actually going to work anyway. I've not been jumping in and answering messages and keeping my eye on my phone and worrying about pings coming in. That's all been done in the background. And now I'm doing the highest value thing I can do, which is actually jump on the phone and see if they are a good fit to work with going forward as a private client or as a coaching client. The next part, which again follows on from this, is the client support. So this is like the third or fourth tip or system that needs to be in place. So I let my clients know that I'm going to go on holiday, and I'm very open and transparent about it. And I let them know how to contact the team in my absence. Make sure that we have things like a client knowledge base, so all of the questions and the FAQ as well, accessible by the clients. So our clients can access most of the information they need by going into that knowledge base and going into the FAQs and searching them. Now, we've actually now got an AI agent, which is going to set up so they can speak to the AI agent, which will then actually answer the questions for them. This is in testing at the moment for us, and we're going live very shortly. At the moment, what happens is they will send a message to my staff, my virtual assistants or my comms assistant. They then use the AI to answer the question and then sense check it and send it back. Things are all looking good, so hopefully very soon we're going to be switching it on to our clients to do that for us. Again, it's just allowing our clients to be served in my absence. I don't need to be around and answer every single question, and I haven't done for a long time. But now, with the advent of actually building a really solid knowledge base, which is I've done over the past 12 months or so, and also having our FAQs in there, and then now with AI is looking even more like I can support my clients even more without actually having to be sort of on the beck and call at any particular time. So having things in place and being open and honest about when you're going to be available, and I'll talk about a second with time management, making myself available at a fair amount of time so people can still contact me. I have coaching clients and private coaching clients, and they pay me on a monthly basis. So I can't just disappear for 6 weeks and not actually return any calls or do any kind of coaching. I don't think that's responsible. That's not the way I run my business. but I also want to be able to take time off. So it's about being mindful of that, about, yes, I need to be able to take time off for my own well-being and my family's well-being, but I also need to respect my clients as well. So having the systems in place to support them while I'm away, with my staff being able to monitor and then escalate anything that's absolutely urgent that I really need to speak to someone about. Then of course there's a method, as I mentioned before, that they can actually escalate things to me, and they always have my personal contact details. For example, my staff have my personal contact details, so I can always be reached if I ever need to be. But thankfully that is incredibly rare, and I actually don't remember the last time that happened for any one of my clients, because I set things up and make sure they feel supported even when I'm not actually there. So I mentioned the knowledge base and the FAQ. That was like point number 4 and 5. Those are probably some of the best things I ever put time into setting up. We have an AI driven one, as I just mentioned. So all the information put in there can now be accessed by our team and very soon our clients. And then they can actually do a lot of their own problem solving. And it's actually linked to, if you're a coach or a trainer, we use an app called Circle. And that allows us to then actually link all of our course content, every transcript from every course I've ever created, every webinar I've ever done, every podcast I've ever recorded, and our clients can actually access all that through the AI brain, so to speak. And so anything I've ever really thought or said is now accessible. So I've got an AI that's trained on 9 years of systemization, optimization, and automation knowledge that our clients tap into. And that is a brilliant way to be able to serve your clients without you being there. The next and last piece of the puzzle, which is probably number 6 or 7, I've lost count, is time management. It's actually about planning ahead. So few key takeaways here, and this is why I said this is the big one I'm saving for the end. First of all, it's so obvious, some of this stuff, that I kick myself that I didn't used to do it. But if you don't plan ahead, then you will end up in a situation like I did so many times, when I actually just get to this time when I'm meant to be on holiday with my family. I live in Sweden, so the kids have a long summer holiday, like 9 weeks or something. And I get to that start of that period and I feel really stressed. I've got clients that I've just onboarded. I've got, a course that I've just done, or I'm doing a sales promotion, whatever it was. And suddenly I'm like, look, how do I manage this? How do I how do I serve my family in the way I want to? How do I, be good for them, but also not actually let my clients down or mess up the sales process or whatever? And most of this came down to timing, actually really thinking ahead and saying, what are the times of the year that I don't want to be kicking off a new course cohort? What are the times of the year where I don't want to be kicking up, starting a new project or hiring or onboarding a new team member? And actually think about that way ahead of schedule. So if I do want to have that 9 weeks with a lighter workload and just work not every single day during that period, then I've got to actually think about, well, actually, if I'm going to start a cohort for a course or a coaching, whatever, I don't want someone to start like on the first day. So I've got to go back sort of like how many weeks that I want to have to nurture them in before they actually start. So maybe that actually there's a 12-week period of the year where I don't want to onboard anyone new. That means I've got to really plan ahead. So if I'm doing any marketing or drives for any of my sales, then it's got to actually fall. So the actual, the onboarding date for this new cohort will not fall into that 12-week period. And then you've got Christmas as well to deal with. So actually, if you really care about your freedom, if you really care about being able to, be there for your family when you need them, then planning your sales drives and everything into very tight slots throughout the year means you can still drive your sales, and I believe have more passion and energy behind each of those sales, but without actually interfering with your personal life becoming stressful. But again, it just takes planning. The second thing is about planning your time when you're off. Now, I'm off at the moment for about 4.5 weeks, and I don't feel I really could take that entirely off at the moment. I am still the coach in my business. I am still the person that deals with my clients' challenges, and I help them along with support from my team. But I am still the face and the head of my business, and that's the way I see it going for the next couple of years, at least, if not beyond. I enjoy my work, and I genuinely want to actually continue to help people. And I also enjoy the model that I have, which is a subscription-based model where people pay me on a monthly basis, and that allows me to really get into their business, to have repeated every single month. I'm connecting with them like multiple times, whether it's on group coaching calls, on one-to-ones, or on ad hoc sessions, whatever it is. And I love that model. So I don't want to stop that. But that means that I'm sort of committing to being available to them because they're paying me a retainer, if you like. They're paying me a subscription, not even a retainer, they're paying me a fee for the time that I'm supposedly giving them, whether that's in one-to-one coaching or group coaching or support, between those times. And so if I just disappeared for 4.5 weeks, I don't feel that it would be right for me to then charge those people for that time I'm away. I have been with coaches myself and paid them, and it was a monthly subscription, and yet they were off for 4 weeks over the summer, charged me, and I had no contact with them at all. And that actually made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't like that about that particular coach. I wish I'd known that ahead of time or been really made aware of it, because I didn't feel that was that particularly fair, and I would have probably questioned it. And that would actually reassess how much the whole cost was over the year, because I'm actually paying for a 12-month program, but I was only getting, I think in total it was actually as a month in summer and a month in Christmas, if I remember correctly. And so it was actually about 10 months I was actually getting. So just the sort of the value proposition that was actually being portrayed to me. So for me, I actually like being able to keep in contact with people. And so I had to figure out how to do this. And so what I do is I typically say on this 4.5 week holiday, I will do a bit of work a couple of days on the first week, and then on the third week or the fourth week. So then I'll have either 1 or 2 weeks completely off with absolutely nothing to do. And I'll work a couple, say 2 or 3 half days on each of the other weeks. And that allows me to still be there for my clients without too long a gap, so I can still support them if any challenges come up or have some regular coaching calls. I can support my group coaching clients as well, but also I can get through and support my team. So I can get through some admin and support my team as well. So my team do need support still. Yep, they're autonomous in so many respects, but actually it's still me driving a lot of the business decisions. And so what projects should they work on next? In some respects, I could plan ahead and give them stuff, and you do that, but there's still going to be stuff that comes up, and I still want to be there to support them. They are not entirely an autonomous group of people. We're a very small business, and I'm still very much involved in the leadership and the management of those people, and I want to be there. I don't want to just leave them for 5 weeks and bugger off around the world. I want to actually support them as well at this stage in my business. So I want to be really mindful of my freedom and my values that are highly important to me. The fact that I can record this podcast from anywhere in the world, I've been doing coaching calls this morning from my laptop again in this office. It means that I don't have to be fixed any position. I can literally work for a few hours a week, but genuinely then feel the rest of the time I'm having time off with my family, be able to see my friends that I don't see very often without it sort of destroying my business. So it's all these things in place. It's having good systems. It's having a marketing system. It's having a sales progression system. It's having your comms assistant who's trained up to actually manage your incoming messages and incoming calls, etc., for you, to support your clients through FAQs, through your knowledge base, and actually thinking really far ahead with regards to your time management, and then planning your holiday so you have very fixed agenda of when you're available, so people can book in with you or you can schedule stuff with your clients, but it doesn't interfere on everything else that's wonderful about being on holiday. And really important for me, having genuine time off. So next week, for example, I'm going camping in the south of France. I will not be answering any messages from anybody. I will not be turning my phone on for work. And my staff will have my emergency number, but I will be so surprised if anybody phone me, because I don't understand. There's nothing for me that could really be that disastrous that they need to phone me, but they could if they need to. So I know I don't have to worry about it. If they ring me, they ring me, but I can't believe that would ever happen. So therefore, I can truly switch off and have a week camping in the south or middle of France with my family and friends and just have a wonderful time. And that's, what it's all about, in my opinion. So I hope that's been helpful to just go through some of the mindset shifts I've had to make over the years, some of the systems I've had to put in place, and some just practical advice about things you can start thinking about now that maybe by next year you can start putting this stuff into place. If you're interested in joining our academy, this is where we coach people through the mindset of actually creating freedom, of the systems, the implementation, of the hiring of the staff, of virtual assistants, of the capturing what you do, the creation of those systems through process mapping and automation and use of AI. If you want to know more about that, about how we can support you, please head over to join.sys.academy. That's join.sys.academy. and check out all information about our community and our courses and systems on there. And if you want to have a quick chat with me, if you go to the bottom of the page, you should find a link to actually book a quick call and have a chat about if the Academy and our community is right for you. So thank you so much for your time today. Please do remember to hit subscribe to learn more about how to create genuine freedom from your business or with your business or in your business. And do please share this with your friends and colleagues and anyone who runs a business that you think would benefit from having more time and freedom to enjoy what they do, what they love to do each day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.